Welcome to the Washington State Boys High School State Championship. My name is Abby Abramovich.
And I'm Casey Ikeda.
We've got ourselves a classic matchup here. We've got Northwest High School and Cleveland High.
I'm really excited about this game. We have a really young Northwest school, kind of had some huge upsets through the quarters and semis. And Cleveland, this juggernaut this year, undefeated, seeming to be untouchable this year. I'm really excited about this matchup, Abby.
Yeah, talking to a couple of the Cleveland players before the game, sounds like they've had a fantastic season. They haven't lost a single game yet. They said that this game, in fact, is just the cherry on top right now. They're so excited going into it. Obviously, winning the invite earlier this year was really huge for them. It said it brought them a lot of momentum, but their whole season kind of leads up to this one game.
Absolutely, and when you have had kind of this kind of perfect season, it's always kind of builds this pressure coming into this game. And what's exciting on the other end with Northwest, they have 10 rookies. They're kind of in this mentality of being happy to be here. And I think that's such an exciting moment where they nothing to lose, to go out there to make some big plays. The lights are on, and it's just a time to attack.
Definitely, yeah. We've got a team here that, hasn't lost a game this season. They're feeling really excited, but that does add up to a lot of pressure. Whereas, just as you said, Northwest can be in this underdog mentality, just happy to be here, but it gives them this opportunity to really step up, have some fun, and see what they can do tonight.
So Cleveland, really known for their vert stack, and they have some fantastic handlers that can just break the mark, moving side to side. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Northwest makes the adjustment to kind of stop these kind of squirrely, great throwers in the backfield for Cleveland. But then also, how do they contain their big cutters? We have Zeppelin downfield, Aiden as well, who are really these aggressive deep threats upfield. We can see Northwest coming down in this kind of three-person trap zone, really looking to get Cleveland off, trapped on the sideline. Great scooper to the sideline. This is the dangerous point for the zone. Great find back to the middle, not able to get stuck on the line. You can see Cleveland moving this quickly through the middle. This is what it looks like to break the zone. And just like butter, a hammer to the corner. David Zhao with a fantastic spike, and you can see the energy from Cleveland.
What a fantastic point to get us started off. Some really exciting really exciting throws as we see on this replay, working their way through the cup, this huge hammer over the top to find his receiver in the end zone. And that's just, you can see the players rushing the field. That's just so exciting for the first point of the state championship.
And Marchand, one of the leaders of this team, just catching it in the middle and aggressively taking that hammer shot. That's a lot of times you see hammers to the back corner of like a stall 9 and really shows that like the defense put clamps on. But I love this attacking hammer, especially with no wind. You're throwing a zone and you can really attack the corners and make the defense feel like they can have to cover 4 or 5 more yards than they're used to. Great throw, really confident, and also just kind of makes your whole team kind of swell with this like swagger of like, yeah, we're gonna throw blades over the top, we'll throw scoobers, come back with that zone.
Yeah, it kind of shakes you a little bit on defense. If you come down in this three-person cup, you're thinking, at least we can stall them a little bit, right? Maybe we're able to stop their pull play, make them take their second, third option, and for a team to fire back with those hammers and those blades over the top, swinging the disc from side to side, able to score in a couple of passes is huge for this Cleveland team. Yeah,
I always like to look at both teams' defense of like, how many stall 7s do you get? And in that point there, you saw like maybe a stall 3. Cleveland moved it fantastically, just kind of like slicing and dicing through the field. As you can see, Cleveland coming down, also in kind of this saggy zone look. This is a really fun one where you have kind of 2 people sagging off in the middle and able to trap them on the sides. So again, 2 teams, big shot up, 1 deep, Zeppelin on the corner, little contact. Looks like there was a foul called. Unsure. No call. Again, though, really interesting look to see Cleveland come down in an early zone. I think sometimes there's a lot of kind of butterflies, and it's great to kind of just slow down a team, make them kind of like second guess, move side to side. But both teams looking to attack through the center of the zone. So it looks like there's a foul, no contest. Northwest going to have the disc, tap it in, and then walk to the front of the end zone. This is always a really scary point when it's kind of a scramble end zone moment. let's see if Northwest can kind of capitalize. Here's the disc tapped in. Higher stall count, a little bit of chaos, looking to try to get back to the middle. There's going to be a tough break back to the middle. Owen with a disc. Northwest a little still disorganized, and a drop, an unfortunate drop on the goal line. Cleveland with the disc and the first opportunity for a break.
And here we see Northwest setting that three-person cup that we saw from the first time. Looks like they're also zoned downfield. Exciting to see them be able to set that after that drop. Being able to set that on the fly is really exciting. Trying to stop Cleveland on their goal line, but make them play this zone offense for 70 yards.
And again, a great throw, but this is a scary situation when you're trapped on the sideline, having to make a 40-yard kind of breakthrough swing to lose yards. Again, a blade over the top. Owen DeVore is there, but another unfortunate drop. So this is kind of the moment where I think Northwest, that's the zone working, where they're hoping for these kind of lofty throws. Again, another quick turn, a big shot floating in the air, 2 people under, 8 and under, big jump ball, and a big D. Again, Abby, we used to talk about the butterflies of a kind of early game under lights, and this is a kind of, I feel like a classic example. 2 little drops, some quick jump balls, and as you can see, the disc flies up, 2 people getting under, and a big leap, and just off the fingertips. I think there's a strip call, and it's tough to tell. Those kind of bang plays of whether you stop rotation, if it was in your hand or the person knocked it out, are so tricky.
Yeah, it can be a tricky call when you're on defense there too, especially with 2 people going up. Even if you didn't foul someone, or if you feel like you weren't responsible, you don't know if the person on your team might have been responsible. So that's a tough call to make. See Cleveland tapping the disc back in.
And again, Northwest setting this trap zone, trying to make Cleveland go side to side and really focusing on the sidelines to try to get trapped. This is a moment, again, another unfortunate drop. Both teams kind of having these butterfly moments. It's really the first 2 or 3 points that teams, I think, are just kind of jittery. It's tough to settle in. And another big shot and off the fingertips of Owen DeVore.
Yeah, I think you can hear how loud and excited this crowd is. It's always super exciting to be in this state championship, knowing that your family might be watching in the stands or might be watching the stream at home, and all these butterflies coming together. This is the last game of your season, so we might be seeing a little bit of that anxious play right now with a few of these drops.
And this is where I really look towards Cleveland's kind of upperclassmen and their experience to kind of settle in these moments. You know, these breaks, even though it's early game, big shot and off the fingertips of Zeppelin. I think it's really important for the seniors and leaders of your team to kind of calm your team down. Yes, it's great to have this energy, and it's great that we're playing under lights, but you have to remember your basics. We have to convert on these break throws or break opportunities. A dish play to Miles. Miles looking deep. No shot there. Back to the middle.
Cleveland doing an excellent job of helping deep. We're seeing some back pocket defense from these players, and then they're happy when their players on that break sideline, happy to poach off into the back space and provide some help in that deep space against this Northwest team. But there, a deep shot goes off. Unable to connect for this Northwest team. Do you think they're going to set that 3-person cup again?
Yeah, I think right now it has been working for them, and I think you stick with the game plan. Especially in these longer points, it's really kind of easy to say, I want to end this on 1 throw, and when you set this trap zone, it really says, nope, you're not allowed to try to throw these kind of tricky throws over the top. But whenever I'm kind of tired and exhausted in these long points, I just want to huck it and get it over with. So for Northwest, though, what's going to be really interesting offensively, we saw Miles kind of do a lot of give-go and him shooting deep. For Northwest to be successful, I think those deep shots really need to start connecting. Cleveland, you're right, has been back pocket and is really trying to take away those deep shots. And I think this cat and mouse game of saying, okay, Northwest, you're trying to dish and give go to these hucks. We're going to try to stop you. And Northwest trying to say, hey, we're going to kind of slow your kind of give go and break throws down by putting this trap zone on.
Yeah, here we see a big hammer over the top using all 40 yards of the field. It looks like it was a question of whether or not his feet were in bounds when he caught it. It was right on the edge. It was difficult to tell for us up in the booth. Number 12, Ricky went on that catch, trying to figure out if he's in bounds with the Northwest players.
And you know what? The long looping hammers and 40-yard big swings have been working, but they make me nervous. Right, it's 0-1 right now, and it's a little easy. But if this game gets to 10-10 or something like that, when there's a little more fatigue, these kind of long, kind of skipping the swing pass is something as kind of a very old school coach just makes me kind of nervous and worried about kind of how many can you throw before you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, right now it seems like they're kind of relying on those passes. So let's see if Cleveland can kind of go a little bit and then still use those passes every once in a while, but it not be the main part of their zone offense. But also that might be my old school thought too.
And here we get some great movement. I think this is forcing the zone to kind of keep moving and opening up these holes. Great footwork by Aiden. And again, a big loopy blade throw to the corner, and that just makes you pull your hair out as a coach when you feel like you have broken through the zone, the cup is behind you, and you decide to blade to the back corner and test the deep. This is a rough one right now, and I know the butterflies are there, but I think this game is going to be decided right now on who can kind of settle in first and kind of like just breathe into the moment. Let's play ultimate. You know, the moment is big, but the first thing you have to do is throw and catch. Miles with the disc. Big layout D. And Aiden is one of those players that might give it away, but then will absolutely get it back for you.
That's a huge play for this Cleveland defense. This is the closest they've been to the end zone at this point, I'm pretty sure. So let's see. Northwest is still in that three-person cup. Let's see if they swing it, if they move it from side to side and take advantage of this field position, or if we see those big blades, those big hammers and skewers that they've been using to get over the top in this end zone.
And you can see the adjustment that Northwest has made by just their cup having their hands up. And after a long point, Aiden coming back and grabbing it with a fantastic spike.
Not surprised to see number 8, Martin Lee, connecting with number 10, Aiden there. They were doing so much for that Cleveland offense. Aiden really good at those give and goes, staying patient in this big zone, this big cut from Northwest, and able to find Aiden into that open space right in the middle of the end zone.
Yeah, and you know, this is nitpicky, but I think Mitch and the Cleveland coaches right now are getting a little frustrated though, right? This is something though, execution is really important. And yes, the result is a break, which is amazing and fantastic, and the energy can go high. But for Cleveland to be successful, they have to play their game, and those kind of sloppy plays really hurt them in the long run. I think this is a great moment where the coaches themselves maybe are settling the players down. And a long point like that early in the game is also kind of really helpful to kind of settle your team in, get your legs under you, kind of feel your lungs burn a little bit, and just get you back onto the field and out of the stands, out of the light, out of your head for the state championship.
Absolutely, and both coaching staffs here have a lot of experience in these big-time games. Both teams actually have one sockeye player each, just coming back last weekend from winning a national championship. Other coaches as well with a lot of big-time experience, so these coaches know what to say to these players in these big, exciting games under the lights. As we see Cleveland here pull it. Exciting opportunity for Northwest. They had some great offensive flow at times, and then just a few unfortunate drops last point. So let's see if they can put it together here.
It'll also be interesting to see if Cleveland goes back to that kind of saggy zone or they're back in person. It looks like they're in person. Again, going back pocket, big backhand shot. Owen has a step. West makes a big leaping grab. D. And again, Northwest unable to connect with the deep shots.
Yeah, that's a huge D. A lot of momentum for this Cleveland team right now.
And again, Northwest trapping, going to their zone, quick transition. It'll be interesting to see how Cleveland adjusts, knowing that no matter what, Northwest is going into that zone. When I know a team is transitioning, I think fast breaks are much more important. Not necessarily fast breaks to get to score, but fast breaks just to kind of make the defense scramble a little more than they're used to, especially when they're setting this aggressive trap zone.
Absolutely. Cleveland swinging it from side to side, doing a great job of moving it right now as a deep shot goes up. And a big-time D for number 17 on Northwest.
Owen DeVore. Owen DeVore being all over the map, not only being a deep receiver, being a handler, but also getting big-time Ds in that deep. Cleveland, though, again, I think these moments are going to come back and bite them a little bit. These turnovers when they're taking long shots, testing the deep, have just not worked. Again, another long shot, testing the deep. This one, though, absolutely just going to eat my words, works. And for the second break of the game.
That was a fantastic throw deep. We saw it out to space. The Northwest player unable to make up this time. As you were watching this replay, you can see it out in front of the Cleveland player the entire time. Northwest unable to catch up and get this D in the moment.
And this was kind of an interesting one where Northwest didn't have as much time to set and to attack deep again, or attack in this kind of fast break mentality worked out for Cleveland, but I still struggle with these kind of long testing deep shots in these zones. I really liked their first point when they were going not necessarily huge side to side, but they went these quick throws through the middle, which opened up these longer side to side throws. But I think it's that first step of attacking through the middle that will open up these longer shots that will make Cleveland much more effective. But again, it's 3-0. You know, there's time for practice and there's time for scoring, and the state championship is time for scoring.
Yeah, as our friends on Seattle Mixtape would say, men lie, women lie, buckets don't. Right now we got a game 3-0, but Northwest is still happy, so far we've seen them taking these deep shots. I think that they're okay deep shots, but against this tight Cleveland defense, Cleveland showing that they're able to make these big athletic plays. So I think for Northwest to be successful with those deep shots, they got to find bigger windows. They got to find people who are open by maybe an extra step than they're used to against other teams.
Yeah, and it does feel like also on Northwest that they're kind of forcing these deep shots. And I agree that it's kind of the cut is there, but maybe it's not open. And they're choosing to throw that instead of there's been kind of 10 to 15 yard open unders or an opportunity to swing it off the line to attack from the middle. These deep shots are close and they're being contested. And I think with these thin lines too, Northwest running pretty much the same 7 every time, that those windows are going to get smaller and smaller, and you have to take what the defense gives you at times. And Cleveland coming out in this back pocket are giving up some open unders, and Northwest needs to take advantage of that. And if they keep forcing the issue with deep shots, I think we're going to keep seeing them get D'd and then fast breakdown.
Definitely. Casey, as a Northwest alum, how are you feeling out here tonight? Is it exciting to see your former high school in the championship again?
As a Northwest school alum, it's always fun, and I think I have to root for Northwest a little bit, but I think there's also such a joy to see how far high school ultimate has gone. When I was playing back in 2007, you know, we had such a small kind of competition. You know, it would be us and maybe Nathan Hale every few years, but to see just like the bracket of the people that people had to play against and the talent and the coaches, not only coming up through middle school and high school, it is remarkable to see how much Seattle Youth Ultimate has grown.
Awesome, and we see the pull from Cleveland, Northwest centering the disc. Cleveland believe looking that they're in person, although happy to poach off a little bit on these first couple passes.
Yeah, again, you can kind of see a really kind of saggy, helpy deep and really making Northwest kind of work the unders. But what's really helpful is Northwest has worked it up the field with these 20-yard gainers, and now they're in position for the first time kind of in the red zone after moving the disc quite quickly downfield. Again, Northwest has kind of struggled in this position last time, and let's see if their first big hold, a clean offensive point. And that is just a kind of sigh of relief. the first point sometimes is always the hardest, and those 2 breaks, you're kind of worried, not sure if what your game plan is going to do, if it's working, and you can see Miles making that upline cut, but doing a really good job of recognizing that Aiden had defended it, freezing, and not going into that open side lane, which allowed Northwest to blow up into that open side and get that disc.
Absolutely, and again, really fun to watch Owen DeVore and what he does for this Northwest team. We see him downfield, we see him gaining big unders, but then also happy to fill into that handler space, showing that he's calm and chilly in front of the end zone, and that's got to bring some relief to this Northwest team as they look for more momentum on offense.
Yeah, and I think the coaching staff for Northwest too is saying, hey, we're getting these turnovers. Our zone has consistently generated 1 or 2 turnovers each point, except for the first point. Trust that it's working, and then offensively take what they're giving. This is the first time Northwest didn't huck. They gained a ton of yards. They were patient. They didn't force it, and they still won the open side. And that makes it a lot easier. They didn't have to throw anything tricky. They didn't have to do anything kind of game-changing. They worked hard. They got open side. I'm really looking forward to Cleveland right now and seeing their offensive line get back out here, expecting zone, and seeing if they work and attack the middle, and then when it opens up to take these kind of longer swings or hammer shots, but to not look for that as their first option.
Northwest coming down in that 3-person mark we've seen every point so far this game.
Cleveland, oh, it looks like a strip was called. Northwest defender run through as the throw went off and knocked it out of his hands. So this is the moment though where Cleveland is doing a good job of attacking through the middle, and they're not trapped on the sideline. They're getting these kind of quick dink and dunks, and then open these things up. Great movement, big loopy throw right over the top, and that's a goal. So, and I know we've been talking about that, but there's so much difference between going through the middle, popping it through the sideline, and then having the deep in a 2-on-1 kind of situation where he has to choose, and David making this beautiful throw into space where Owen can't get to.
Yeah, that's an exciting point for Cleveland. I really like watching Martin play in zone offense. That's a double spike right there and a point at the camera. Cleveland always knowing how to celebrate. But watching Martin play that zone offense, he's so quick, able to move through, use his subtle fakes to move that cup around him so that he's able to create new windows. And then his teammates, when they're getting the ball downfield, able to put it up somewhere new and ready to attack. I don't think anyone held on to the ball for longer than 4 or 5 seconds at least.
Yeah, absolutely. That quick movement not only resets the stall count, but it kind of always forces 7 people when you're in a zone to reposition. David and Martin are just doing a fantastic job of kind of orchestrating this zone O, and it's just exciting, fun, ultimate to watch.
Definitely. We're getting a look at Reed Koss, the head coach for this Northwest team. He's been there for years and years at this point, so he's got to be excited to be in this high school state championship. What do you think he's telling this Northwest team right now?
I think there is a moment where a game can kind of get away from you, and when you have a young team like that, you can start thinking about, oh no, what do we have to do? And I think it's just kind of a calming voice reminding them about what has been working and that they have been getting open side. I think for Reed is just kind of refocusing his kind of young squad on kind of the small little details that they need to think about, not thinking about what is the 13-point throw that I can figure out, or what is this highlight D that I have to get. It's about the kind of fundamentals and just thinking about the small little inches that you have to take to win this state finals. Leaking deep. Ooh, a little bit of a mix-up. Had an open shot deep. Again, Cleveland doing this kind of sagging back pocket D. Give go. Great movement through the middle again. You can see Northwest really using Miles this point, making sure that he has the disc at all times and making those throws and just kind of dinking and dunking and making sure he gets it right back. Owen and Miles really working up the disc. for Northwest. Again, on the doorstep. Tough moment. Miles, oh, great defense. Way to lock them in the corner, and you can see immediately Cleveland going fast break. Big shot deep, floating in the air. Multiple people under. Isaac going up. Oh, and the second chance. Oh, and the third chance.
You gotta love the heart that you see in that play. You can hear the crowd going wild. There's a big Cleveland crowd here tonight, and you can hear them going wild, even though Cleveland unable to come up with that offensive possession.
And I love the fast break. I'm not as sure if I love the huck right away, but the two people streaking deep really puts a ton of pressure on the Northwest School zone, especially if they're trying to transition after a turnover. Not always that throw has to go, but those two just kind of hustle play, head down, sprint 40 to 70 yards is such a great kind of team thing to do right after a turnover. Owen with the disc. Hammer or Scoober over the top. What a fantastic grab. Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
It looks like it's going to be sent back, or
I don't know if he was able to hang on to it.
okay. That was, I didn't understand how he could have hung on to that. There's the Scoober. Layout, back edge. Oh. Falls down.
That is heartbreaking. You saw the disc come out right after his hand hit the ground. Unfortunately, the disc does have to survive ground contact. We're getting some reenactments on the field. And that's a really tough call to make. You know, this is an incredibly athletic catch. We see the hammer over the top. Number 2 on Northwest doing everything he can. He holds onto it, but at that moment, it looks like he loses control, and it looks like on the field they've come to a consensus that he did lose control. So we see Northwest in this 3-person cup, Cleveland moving the disc on their goal line.
But to, like, 1, to get a hand on a Scoober, and then 2, for your offhand to trap it. I know it kind of maybe hit the ground first, but to just even have that coordination of reaching with your left hand and then trapping again with your right hand, that is incredible.
Yeah, Northwest does have 3 number 2 jerseys, but I believe that was Merrick Plummer who was able to make that big athletic play.
So again, Northwest with the trap zone. You know, the thing about that kind of call, it allowed Northwest to get kind of organized and set their zone. A big shot again, and a big athletic play. Cleveland with numbers, and finishes with the goal and the kick spike for West.
Oh, you can hear the crowd going crazy for this Cleveland team, and that is just so tough. We saw a big layout attempt from Merrick, and then this big hook going up. Northwest unable to come down with their athletic play on offense, and then here we just see a huge play by Cleveland, and then able to find an open person. Their team already celebrating before the disc is in the end zone.
Allen climbing the ladder, a fantastic, just be able to go up and then set your feet and throw. You know, there's so many times that just the adrenaline after you make a huge play like that, you just turn and like turf it or throw it out the back to really just kind of settle down and just make that fantastic throw after a great grab. Fantastic play by Allen going up and climbing the ladder.
And Allen is actually a freshman at Cleveland, so we're going to see this kid making plays for another.
Young man, don't do that. I was expecting Allen to be a junior or a senior, but man, go climb the ladder, young man.
It looks like Allen's fun fact is that he works at Chili's. We've got a lot of workers on this Cleveland team. It looks like how many baristas do they have? 6 baristas on their team. Quite a few of them claiming that they are, in fact, the best barista, but we'll have to find out for ourselves.
The best barista and the best 2K player. You know, the video games are going to be a contentious moment for all these high schoolers, but at least Zeppelin says he is the best 2K player. I'm not vouching for him, but from what I hear, he is the best 2K player. I don't know about y'all, but find me on N64 Smash if you can dust off your VCR and find some N64, that's my game.
Your age is really coming out tonight.
So Cleveland coming down, again, sagging in the lanes right now, having a bracket in the background. So kind of like almost like a transition zone. We have like a 3-3-1 where it forces Northwest to go back and forth, and an unfortunate drop. Now Cleveland in the red zone looking to score. And again, it just keeps rolling. Aiden getting another goal for the game. 6-1, and this is the moment when the wheels feel like they're gonna come off, and Cleveland has just exploded. They feel like everything's going their way, and Northwest's body language right now, their heads are down a little bit, and it's so hard to try to claw back in this moment. This is where I think the captains, Miles and Owen, really have to steady the ship. The coaching staff from Northwest really has to make sure to kind of breathe and make sure that, you know, these comebacks happen. But you can tell Northwest hang their heads a little bit, a little worried, a little feeling daunted at the task of this comeback.
Yeah, hard to generate momentum right now. We saw that unfortunate drop, but you want the disc in the hands of Miles. He's done fantastic stuff for this Northwest team so far. But yeah, Northwest just needs to be able to generate some momentum on offense, and this is a really hard place to be when you feel like whatever you're trying right now isn't quite working. But they have had those moments. We saw a few points where they're able to break through on those open side unders and work the disc up the field. This Cleveland team is doing a wonderful job of that open side sag plus back pocket, really taking away almost all of the field. They're playing fantastic defense out there. I think Northwest is going to have to keep grinding, but also get a little more creative. You might have to accessorize those cuts a little bit, add another pump fake or two to get those poaches out of the lane so that you're able to hit your receivers when they do get open.
And also just maintain the energy. Cleveland right now is just cruising and having so much fun. And you can just tell on their field, defense, offense, they just have a little more speed in their step. And this energy from the crowd and from their teammates are just really helping Cleveland boost themselves right now. Ooh, and a big layout. Aiden trying to get back. You can see Cleveland, again, in this kind of saggy zone that you talked about, making sure that Northwest cannot huck. Looks like there was a travel called on the throw from Miles.
Northwest doing a good job of moving the disc around, right? Not waiting until stall 8 to find somebody. They're moving the disc when they see someone who's open. They're spreading out on the field really well, able to move the disc quickly and find those new windows that are opening up.
But I love this defensive adjustment from Cleveland. It's making Northwest kind of swing back and forth, take away their deep game, make them go over the top. Great throw, though. That was a fantastic hammer back to the top. Let's see if they transition to person right now or if they're going to stay in this kind of saggy zone. It looks like they're staying in this kind of sag cup right now. Really interesting. Both teams really sticking to these zones the whole way of the field.
Yeah, I love to see a zone and end zone. That's what Seattle Riot ran this year. Often really successful. Teams get a little flustered in this end zone. There's not very much space. They're not used to playing zone offense in the end zone, even though a lot of times when teams are able to hang out, chill for a second, they're able to find those windows that inevitably open up. And there we see Northwest able to find that open window. Owen DeVore coming down with that goal for Northwest.
And you're right. The kind of patience to swing it back to the middle, kind of force the Cleveland defense to play side to side. Great job using his fakes, Merrick, and then bouncing back, and then these kind of windows open, getting these kind of big movements, forcing the defense to shift one way, and then finding and sneaking the other way. Really fantastic play and patience by Northwest. For a young team, after kind of a series of breaks to kind of calm down, play these kind of calm, focused zone O points, it is really hard to do. A lot of times, especially, you know, as a 9th grader, as a 10th grader, when a few zone points didn't work, I'm thinking, I gotta throw blades, I gotta throw hammers, we gotta do something 100% different from what we're doing. And a great job from this young Northwest school team to kind of calm down, pump fake, dump, swing, and find those little openings.
Yeah, and actually I thought that Merrick did a fantastic job that point. I think he only got the disc once or twice for Northwest, but he was staying on this close sideline to us, staying wide, whereas a lot of players, if they're like, I just want the ball, I'm open, and you start pushing towards the center of the field, really, really wanting the disc, and it ends up crowding your offense. But Merrick able to find that open space and also draw defenders so that his teammates are able to get open.
So Northwest has been throwing zone and zone and zone, and Cleveland has been kind of settled in and eating it up. Abby, are you throwing a zone again, or is this time to kind of switch things up against the Cleveland team?
I think you switch things up. I think you go person.
And Abby, you called it. It looks like a person with a little bit of poaching, a big shot deep, and underneath it is Aiden with, again, a big grab. And that has to be Aiden's 5th goal. And I agree with the switch up, but man, Cleveland just is cruising a little too fast. Martin to Aiden, and we are saying those names quite a bit. A beautiful flick hook. Aiden reads it really well. Northwest has 2 people underneath, but Aiden just has that step and goes up with 2 hands.
Yeah, and it is tough on defense to make that switch after you've been playing zone all game and then go to person and try to be tight. But I think you've got to know that those are the 2 players who are going to be looking for each other on the field. You've got to be ready for those big throws. That was a perfect forehand hook that we saw from Martin out to space, able for his receiver to run down onto it. I think Northwest, you've got to anticipate that on defense.
Yeah. The zone has been working really great for Cleveland, but as we're approaching half, especially when you have a little bit of buffer, I think it would be really interesting, or I really enjoy as a coach, to throw something kind of zany, something kind of fun, and just to kind of get in the heads of the other coaching going into the halftime. They want to huck, but maybe throw a different look and get this kind of another momentum swing or break coming into half. The coaching staff for Cleveland, really strong, really focused, and I think has done a great job crafting the season and this team.
Yeah, absolutely. They've had a fantastic season, as we've talked about. Haven't lost a game yet. These 2 teams have met twice this season. Cleveland has been on top of each matchup so far, and so far they are showing why and how they can do it, whether you throw zone at them, whether you throw person, whether they score in 30 throws or whether they score in 1 throw. Cleveland so far has been able to do it.
Yeah, it does seem quite a hill to climb. You kind of throw different things, and they keep seeming to bat them down. Pull goes out of bounds. Northwest looking like they're in a horizontal. Cleveland coming down, and again, that kind of back pocket person looking to help off weak side or just having help deep. Miles walking to the disc, or walking to the middle with the disc. A little bit of a side stack from Northwest, or almost look, or they're really loading up one side.
Yeah, almost 2 offensive players isolated, and then a side stack with 2 players. I think you're right, Casey.
I like what Cleveland's doing, though. They're almost double teaming Miles by having an extra defender sagging off in the lane, trying to take away that deep huck. Really respecting that a great thrower and really trying to take away those kind of deep huck lanes.
Northwest able to move the ball pretty well right now. We're seeing a couple of great deep cuts that aren't being hit, but I think you've got to be patient right now. You've got to wait for these open spots to really open up. You don't need to take a chance at this moment. You're working the disc up really well down the field.
But Cleveland putting on some great marks, great defense, and you can just tell multiple stall 6 and 7 moments, and there it is. A long throw, great, fantastic read in D by Cleveland.
Yeah, great show of anticipation from that Cleveland defender, and a big
shot.
and it works. Just outside of the end zone. Oh, but number 19 on Northwest able to come down with a huge hand block, saving that goal right now. That was number 19, Miles Nelson.
Again, throwing right to the defender. This kind of saggy help D that Cleveland's running really eats up those long throws through the middle. People are kind of jumping the lane early. Um, Northwest is not really noticing these kind of quick switches or just almost these little poaches in the lane. And again, a kind of unforced error from Cleveland, trying to swing it all the way in one throw to the opposite side in their red zone. Gives the disc back to Northwest.
Yeah, that's a tough throw to make, and it's really easy for someone to poach off. We see a big huck going up to Owen. Oh, big guy able to go up, climb the ladder. Discus tap back in. Throwing it over the top, because why not? Northwest able to put a score on the board. That was an exciting point.
Big two-handed grab. And then just a blade over the top. I think both players thought they were in. They look exhausted, and just the tap in to the let's get this point over blade. Great throw, great placement. It is also a really small window. It was a break side flick to the backhand side. There's just kind of the grouchy old man in me right now that's looking at like break side flick, blade to the open side backhand side. Is that the throw?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, but if that throw doesn't work, you're just shaking your head. You're saying, what is that? But sometimes you just know when things are going to work. But that was also a very clear travel that we saw. And I don't even know if travel was called, but it looked like both players acknowledged it, able to tap it in and keep playing. An exciting point, huge hand block, multiple turnovers, multiple Ds by each team. So Northwest showing what they can do out here.
Yeah, and Miles and Owen again really being the engine for Northwest offense. That big huck from Miles brought down by Owen. And Cleveland doing a great job of containing them, but I mean, they're fantastic players. I really want to see how Northwest either this half or next half makes the adjustment to contain Aiden, Martin, and David. They've been just really tearing apart the zone, and then when Northwest went back to person, Aiden just seemed unguardable again. I don't really have any advice, but I would love to see the kind of minds of the Northwest school coaches kind of put together and see what they do to kind of make those adjustments.
You know, it would be just so much fun to watch would be any sort of zone box and one on Martin.
Oh.
I would love to watch that. I don't know if it'll happen out here, but just as a fan, I think that would be super fun to see.
So pull off the sideline. Again, trap zone. Hammer over the top to the spot. Zeppelin with the disc. Multiple Cleveland people streaking deep. Finds David in the middle. And a big shot through the middle. Wow, fantastic throw to the Scoober to take Cleveland to half. And it's time to eat.
You know, I don't know if box and one would actually do anything. Martin didn't touch the disc till I believe the very end of that point. Cleveland showing that they're playing team offense, zone offense. Martin showing that he loves scoobers.
So we had the flick blade to the backhand side, and now we have the Scoober to the flick side. You know what? I'm going to just shake my fist and say, you know, these kids these days, you know, what happened to the good old backhand? But again, I think what was so amazing in that zone was the backhand that David threw. It was a good maybe 40-yard backhand, went cross field, flat, and you rarely see those thrown in a zone because zones are made to clamp up and take away the middle and force you to go over the top. And a really confident and smooth throw by David to step in and throw that fast, on target, on time backhand for Martin to set him up for the hockey assist. Fantastic throw and great vision to throw that.
Yeah, it's been an exciting first half here. We've seen big plays made by both teams. Excited to see what we're going to see in the second half. Both teams will have a 7-minute halftime right now, and then we'll bring the second half back to you.
You've been watching the state finals between Northwest School and Cleveland High School. I'm Casey Ketta.
I'm Abby Abramovich.
And we'll get back to you after half. And welcome back to the Disc Northwest state finals between Cleveland and Northwest. Right now, we can just really see just the talented squads that both teams had to fight through to get there. Um, SAS having a huge upset against Franklin, and then Northwest having this tight game against Garfield. You can see Cleveland fighting against Waldorf and going through Roosevelt, Lakeside. All these teams also are fantastically coached and well-talented players. When I look at the bracket, I just get so envious of when I played. Our bracket looked like 15-2, 15-1, and these kind of just gritty games just to get to the finals is such a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, some fantastic games. Earlier this season, we actually had SAS upsetting Northwest for the first time in a long time, so those two meeting in semis was super exciting. Northwest able to come out with the win to meet Cleveland here in finals of this just Northwest high school state championship.
And I think that there's also just like a big shout out to all the coaches and all the players competing in the state finals or state kind of championship. Not only to make it here, but just the kind of energy and the community that Seattle has built in Youth Ultimate. It is, I feel so proud to be part of this community when you see both teams having 3 coaches that are kind of volunteering their time, working really hard, mentoring these kids, and then all the coaches from all the other teams too that aren't getting highlighted at the state finals. A big thank you. This community is really growing and strong because of all the club players and all the parents and all the volunteers that make these kind of opportunities special.
Yeah, and not just the Seattle Ultimate community, but the whole Ultimate community coming together for an Age Up fundraiser at the end of semifinals. Earlier this week that we saw, we had a 2v2 challenge, Cam and Brad versus the Dillons, Trent Dillon and Dylan Freechild. Kind of a blowout, but a fantastic fundraiser.
So Abby, I missed it. What was the final? What is 2v2? What happened?
Oh, you certainly know what 2v2 is. Casey, you played on mixtape, but I believe the score was 10-0. You hate to see it. 2 Callahan finalists, right? Going down to some guys who had never played Frisbee in college.
You know, sometimes it happens, but Cam and Brad, big shout out. 2v2 undefeated. Come at us. Okay, Northwest with the disc. Again, back pocket from Cleveland, really kind of forcing Seattle or Northwest to get these kind of contested unders. Big swing, contested, great grab. So you can tell Northwest can't get these deep looks and is having to throw in these kind of tight windows. A foul, kind of a contested foul. It looks like the disc is going to go back to Northwest.
Looks like uncontested foul.
Uncontested foul, I apologize. And you can see great clamp down D. I really like this back pocket D from Cleveland. They're not just giving up kind of easy 20-yard gainers under, that they're just kind of forcing them to go under, and you have someone right on the back pocket of them looking to get these layout Ds or really making that window tight. So if the throw is a little high or a little off to the side, that it's just going to kind of be contested each time, forcing Northwest to kind of go inch by inch up this field.
Yeah, not sure what was called there. Possibly a stall. We saw that stall count rising, but Northwest able to get it off on that far sideline, looking deep into the end zone. Multiple players there.
And a big-time D. And again, so the back pocket D paying off. The huck goes up, and multiple defenders right there on the shoulder of Northwest. Northwest going into their zone again, trying to make Cleveland sling side to side and take a tough shot. Cleveland dinking and dunking through the middle. Another blade hammer over the top, and Cleveland's off to the races. Good patience, a little bit of a scary situation, higher stall count, floating over the top, nice find and great throw. Cleveland moving in the opposite sideline, Aiden calling for the disc far side and walking into the end zone. Young man, you gotta let someone else score. Just, you gotta share. The stat books are full.
Yeah, fantastic work from Cleveland. We saw Allen getting that big time D. Oh, fantastic celebration from Cleveland right now with a big selfie. here we're seeing another look at this score, this crossfield throw. Cleveland showing that they can use all 40 yards of that width very easily, able to score, able to basically throw whatever they want out there. Tough to make an adjustment on zone defense for Northwest. I don't know if you go out wider with your wings to try to take away those hammer and blade throws. Usually when you're playing zone, you're trying to force those throws over the top, but Cleveland happy to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah, and it is one of those moments where that's the weakness of a zone, and that's why it's really helpful when there's a little more wind or a little more conditions that make those kind of blade throws hang or just a little harder to connect with consistently. And Cleveland has shown that they're willing to throw it, they're willing to move the ball through the middle, and they're willing to throw to Aiden in the end zone.
Very willing to throw to Aiden in the end zone.
So Cleveland coming out of half and just continually going with the energy. It is sometimes tough when you're up big to come out of half. There's a kind of lull that happens. You hit cruise control. You kind of forget about the little things. You start thinking about, okay, let's win this game. Let's finish. Let's get to the game point 15. And it was really great to see Cleveland still coming out with the same kind of energy, same focus to get that kind of chip away and still get themselves to 15.
Yeah, let's see what Northwest can do here on offense. We've seen some moments of greatness from this Northwest team. Owen doing a lot of work, Miles doing a lot of work. We've seen Merrick making some big athletic grabs for this Northwest team, but just hard to get through. We've seen a sag in the lane and back pocket defense that Cleveland is playing tight, and then very difficult to get off throws with that sag in the lane. So you got to see if Northwest is able to drop a different pull play here, able to draw up any momentum on offense.
And it just seems really hard. Each yard Northwest is gaining, this is really credit to Cleveland's defense. Just feels so hard fought and so contested. A fantastic grab by Owen on the sideline, but again, just so hard fought to aim that yards. And a rip to Miles. Big shot and a great grab, and that is a big momentum boost for Northwest as you can see them streaking down. Miles usually from that handler set. Owen, big time extension, and then to pop up and then just rip this backhand to his counterpart Miles. Usually you see Miles throwing to Owen, and Owen ripping that great shot to Miles.
And that's that momentum that this Northwest team needs right now. You've got your stars making huge plays out there. We haven't seen too many deep connections work yet for Northwest, but here able to put it right on the money, able to come down with a clean offensive hold and some really fun plays to kind of get that feeling, get that excitement going within your team.
Those kind of deep shots from a handler position, when you cut deep from a handler position, I really like guarding handlers, and when handlers strike up line, you kind of know where they're going. But when they just kind of cut through the middle deep, there is this like, where are you going? Why are you running so fast? Cleveland's done a great job of kind of containing Miles in these kind of like give-go moments. It's great that Miles took off deep, kind of made it a 70-yard sprint instead of this kind of quickness 5 to 10-yard move, and I think it really caught the Cleveland defense off guard.
Absolutely. Exciting to see from this Northwest team. They've only got 2 seniors on the roster. We've talked about how they're a young team. We're going to see this program continue to build up momentum throughout the years, but they're showing what they can do here, fighting their way back into this game.
And I know going back to the zone doesn't feel good, and I know the person doesn't feel great either. This is a really tough position when for Northwest School to kind of think about, like, what is the defense that has been working for us? How can we kind of change things up or stick with something that we can find a break or two to get this momentum back on our side? Northwest coming down. It looks like a kind of person sagging the lane. Big shot deep. Northwest School kind of scrambling to find it. Back throw back to the middle. Aiden with the disc. Not in, almost travels. There's a little bit of a foul. Just tap back in. Aiden with the disc. Back to Isaac. Isaac going up line. The throw and go. Great quick movement. This is really Cleveland's break, throw, go, side to side movement that they're known for. And Martin finding the end zone.
David Zhu and Martin Lee have been playing together since 6th grade. You can see their chemistry on the field. A fantastic break throw around. Cleveland giving and going, as you were saying, Casey, and then able to wait patiently here. See that Martin's able to get open on that break side, and a nice around backhand out into space for Martin to run onto.
And just textbook end zone offense. Isaac throwing open side, going open side, and then the defense shifting, and then Aiden throwing break back to David, then throwing that other side to side movement. It just felt fast. It felt like break throws were open. It felt like open side was being attacked. So many different options. And Northwest doing a good job of kind of trying to take away the first one, but it's like that second and that third option. Cleveland is just so used to just taking what you give them and just really putting so much pressure in the red zone. Fantastic job by all of the Cleveland end zone.
Yeah, and Cleveland playing with a lot of excitement. We've seen these forehand blades, we've seen the hammers and the scoobers, but it's really this discipline that's kind of behind the scenes that allows them to get away with that, right? They've got your on-zone offense, you've got people spread 40 yards wide to both sidelines, you've got us giving and going, not holding onto the ball too quickly, and then in end zone, you've got a clean stack. There's space on both sides, so you are able to attack that open side, but also you've got these nice break throws to able to get around, use that break side, and Cleveland just showing what they can do no matter what's thrown at them.
And as a defender, it's so hard when you've seen this team throw so many scoobers, so many hammers, so many quick blades to the back corner, and know that they love to attack open side, to just say, well, what do I take away? I mean, if I take away open side under, they're going to fade to the back corner. If I bite too hard on the break side, they're going open side. When there's these kind of creative, aggressive throwers like Martin and David, the field just feels so big and it feels so open. The cutters just are cutting with this excitement, and as a defender, it's so hard to contain. Again, you can see Miles and Owen. Miles taking off deep. There's a little help from Cleveland. Let's see if Owen takes the shot. High stall count. Looking back to Miles. Backhand force from Cleveland. Cleveland really noticing that Miles has a great forehand and is going to try to take his backhand. And Owen grabbing the disc. Unsure if he's in. Not in. I'm a little worried that he's injured, if he's okay. The disc is tapped in. Northwest now their chance to score in the red zone. And it's just Miles to Owen and Owen to Miles, and an unfortunate throw. And again, you see Cleveland going fast break, really forcing Northwest School's zone to set early and often. A big shot deep, unsure if it's going to get there. And ripped out of the back of the end zone. But great discipline by Cleveland, streaking deep, not necessarily always throwing that first hook, but forcing Northwest School, if they do want to set their zone, to set it while they're in motion. I really like how Cleveland is attacking off of the turns.
Yeah, and even that second look deep that we did see go up, like you have an open receiver there, it's still a good look, just unable to connect, which is going to happen sometimes when you're forcing this Northwest offense to go a full 70 yards.
And again, we see these kind of saggy back pocket, really trying to contain the Northwest School's deep game. Miles doing a good job of going upfield, going behind the disc, and then coming back when needed. A little stagnant. It's interesting. I feel Northwest is maybe a little too reliant on their two superstars right now, and they're looking to bail. But as I say that, they rip one deep. Oh, and a second effort. I didn't think he was going to get there.
Yeah, incredible that he was even close to making that play. But I agree with what you're saying, right? Right now we're seeing these two superstars looking for each other. They're getting close, but it's not quite working, and you can see that it's wearing on them. You still got a lot of game left to play, and your legs are going to be tired. Your throws are going to feel it as your body gets tired. So you got to keep using all 7 people on the field.
And you can really tell this Cleveland defense, too, are really kind of keying in, helping, and it feels like each time Miles or Owen cuts, they have to kind of cut against another half or help defender, which just adds another blade way over the top. Oh, my gosh. Man.
That's a hard catch to make, especially with the Northwest defender running straight at you. I would be nervous trying to catch that.
Into the lights too. When you're looking up, those bright lights are hard to see. Northwest in the red zone have struggled a couple times to connect, and Miles and Owen finding each other up line, getting the footwork in. It's pretty remarkable. This Cleveland team is fantastic, and Miles and Owen are doing everything possible, working so hard to try to carry this Northwest school team.
Yeah, we get another look with Owen with the disc right here, waiting patiently. Miles able to get a step up line and able to hop that disc into the end zone for the Northwest score. So it wasn't the cleanest point that we've seen so far, but Northwest still able to get a point on the board. You think they continue to run that three-person cup?
I think they're going to just sit on that three-person cup the whole time. Yeah, I don't know what else you do right now. Their person hasn't been as effective, and when Cleveland's offense has been slowed down, it's when they've been trapped on the sideline and when they kind of take those standstill, kind of stall five blades to the corner. You know, the thing is, Cleveland's so talented that those blades have been working, and they've also been hitting other things, but I think Northwest has generated multiple turns with that zone, and they haven't turned into breaks, but I think you have to kind of sit in that confident of, like, we've caused 8 or 9 turnovers with this zone. They haven't turned into 8 or 9 breaks, but we've caused those turnovers.
Yeah, and especially when you're running on these same legs over and over again as Northwest is, sometimes that zone gives some of those players a little bit chance to rest, right? You might be able to hang deep. Even though Cleveland has been testing you, it might be able to allow you to save your legs for a little bit longer in this game.
And you just got a shot of the crowd. It's so helpful in these kind of long games just to get a little boost from the crowd, to maybe have you have 1 or 2 more sprints when you're exhausted. Northwest coming down in person, a big shot, seeming like a little bit of a miscommunication. Northwest with the disc, looking to break. Moving quickly upfield. A big grab. Owen DeVore just all over the place. Not only in the air, but throwing, and oh, off the hands. Aiden with the disc, looking to fast break. Quick give and go. Looks like a pick or a foul was called. So I'm really looking for Cleveland now to get in their vert stack, to kind of move quick with up lines, but also kind of use sideline to sideline, the break side, open side, and really put Northwest kind of on their heels with their great break throws.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're able to work this disc however they want. I think that they're going to work it with unders instead of this is kind of a tricky area to be looking deep. It's really tough to throw these like mid to away passes with so many defenders kind of in this yellow to red zone outside the end zone.
Oh, and another fantastic grab by Zeppelin. Great defense by Northwest, but again, these kind of throwers moving side to side, and the patience of Cleveland offense right now is pretty tough to see. A shot to the corner, though, off the fingertips, but tipped into the hands of Cleveland.
Always great to have a person in the back ready to come down with that. That's number 0 on Cleveland. Nico able to come down with that score.
That's a Cleveland score.
Great grab. Martin grabbing the disc. I think looking for Aiden in this moment in that back corner. It looks like it pops up a little more than he wanted. Aiden, or I'm sorry, Zeppelin going up, can get up high, but just out of his reach. But Nico, a great teammate, circling behind, not necessarily going to the high point, but backing up in case it gets tipped, making sure that he's there as a backup. Kind of all things going right in Cleveland's way right now.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for Northwest. We saw them get that D at the beginning of the point. Going person, I think that's maybe their first D that they've generated from their person defense. Able to get a little bit of movement, but not able to come away with a break during that opportunity. And that's getting tough over and over again, especially as we're watching the clock start to go down at the top of your screen. Northwest has got to convert on these break opportunities if they want to stay in this game.
Yeah, and you know, No matter what happens in this game, I think just having a young team for Northwest to get into these kind of state finals, to play in front of the lights, in front of this crowd, is also just a great experience. I'm sure the Northwest school coaching staff is just feeling very kind of excited to be here too. And you kind of get that bug, and you kind of get those kids talking about, like, texting in the off season about workouts and throwing, and just kind of being like, hey, we want to get back here. So no matter how this game goes, I think Northwest is really kind of feeling excited about the state finals and this experience.
Yeah, especially it's been 4 or 5 years since Northwest has been in the finals after such a long time of just dominating this youth scene.
So Cleveland throwing their own zone, trapped on the sideline. Miles chucking that hammer to the sideline. A dangerous toe the line, but great grab. Cleveland sticking with their zone, really making Northwest go side to side. I really like this look. It kind of changes up the pattern. Northwest kind of was getting in this rhythm between Miles and Owen and letting those two kind of take over. And I like this adjustment. Forces Northwest to say, okay, you have to use all 7. You have to go sideline to sideline, and just kind of mixing up the momentum for Northwest. They kind of had a game plan. They kind of thought they knew what they were going to do, and it kind of just changes and gets them out of rhythm. Northwest, again, setting this trap zone.
I think the scuba that we keep seeing from Cleveland has actually been really effective for them. It's able to just center the disc. We saw that hammer from Northwest last time that we were barely able to toe in on the far sideline, but Cleveland's able to use that scuba just to get to the middle of the field, which is way easier to attack. We see a big hammer. Not sure where that's going to end up, but it's in the hands of Northwest in the end zone. That is a tough read to make, but number 19 on Northwest able to come down with it for a goal.
That is just a double helix, pull back and rip this hammer. Those are so tough to read because it pops up high and then kind of fades to the back corner. So it's almost, you normally expect that hammer to blade back to the right, and you could see it just kind of stop midair and then almost go break side. But things breaking well for Northwest gets them on the board, and sometimes those little things just are so much fun, and kind of brings back a smile to your teammates and gets them back into the game, refocus them in.
Yeah, absolutely. Miles Nelson able to come down with that score from Northwest. We saw that big hammer from Owen, and yeah, it might not be like the most characteristic thing we've seen from Northwest. It's something we've seen from Cleveland, and it does bring this fun atmosphere to the game, just like you're saying, Casey.
And you can see Mitch talking to the line, just telling them to breathe and calm, and the momentum is really exciting, and you could kind of tell that Cleveland was itching that maybe we could throw a 3-pointer, maybe we could throw a 4-pointer, maybe this will be a highlight D, and to remember to get back to the kind of things that got them this lead, to slow down in their execution and to breathe. Really great calming voice on the line from Mitch to just say, okay, let's go back to the just throwing our flat forehands or just breathing and taking a beat, knowing that they're coming down in zone, knowing that everything, they have all the tools to break whatever zone or whatever defense Northwest comes down, but taking that beat is so important.
Yeah, Mitch earning a gold medal 1 week ago, but he doesn't want to settle for one. He wants another one. He wants to rub that in Hoose's face, his sockeye teammate who's coaching this Northwest team on the other side. We see the pole roll out of bounds, and it looks like Northwest is actually coming down in person, but they have deep help at the back of the stack, which is something that you want to see from this Northwest team.
So almost just like a free safety, Owen DeVore kind of floating off in the middle. Just taking away the open side, really making Cleveland go break side. Long throw, and that's kind of Owen's person. So it was kind of a free open throw, but a big swing. Miles looking for that D and disrupts it. Northwest having a great break opportunity right in their red zone. Hammer again to the back corner. Oh, man. Just out of the reach
We saw the hammer work last point for Northwest, but unable to come with it. And it's hard once you start releasing those types of throws to reel them back. But I think when you're that close to the end zone line, you got to be a little more sure. But at the same time, you got to trust big man Owen out there, who's come down with so many goals, so many big plays for this Northwest team.
Yeah, and this is where I'm really looking to Martin and the Cleveland kind of captains to kind of take a breath, right? They have the talent, they have the kind of calm to break and to hold and finish this game. To kind of get sloppy and get unfocused right now is a really tough way to let Northwest back in the game. So to kind of breathe and make sure that you kind of run your offense and play the game that you want to play is really important in this moment. You can see Cleveland doing a really great job of throwing and going, moving side to side. This is what you want to see for Cleveland. You know, the marks seeming to always chase, going sideline, easy throws, and just constant movement. And that is such a great hold and such great offense. Really great to see Cleveland kind of reel it back in and just go sideline to sideline, throw breaks when they're there. The mark was just seeming to chase the whole time and never really get their feet set.
Yeah, and that vertical stack offense, Cleveland does such a good job of moving it side to side that it opens up that break side downfield. We get a fun look at this throw into the end zone, able to keep his tippy toes in bounds. A fun little shot there for Cleveland on offense, but they're able to work so well because of that handler movement, and it's so much easier to cut in a vertical stack when you know that your handlers are going to be able to get it open on that break side and then hit that continue. It's really easy to cut deep and then come back under on that break side. Very difficult to guard, so Cleveland showing what they can do. Handlers and cutters working really well together during that point.
Yeah, and just kind of textbook vert stack offense, kind of being able to attack one side, and as soon as there's a little resistance, being able to swing quickly and get that continue the other side. And as you said, Abby, not just to get that swing, but to get that continuation is really the kind of bread and butter of a great, fantastic vert stack, and I'm sure just so much fun to cut in.
Yeah, and unfortunate for that Northwest team having the ball so close to the goal. 7-11 is a lot easier of a score to look out as the clock is starting to wind down than 12-6. But let's see what this Northwest team can do. We've got people out there making big plays. This team starting to work together to build some momentum on this offense.
So disc rolls out of bounds. Kind of a short field, but trapped on the sideline. Cleveland in their back pocket again, person. Miles break off the line, back to the middle. Great dish, looking for Owen deep. Shot goes, has a step, but might float a little bit. Two people helping over the top. Ooh, some contact. Owen down.
We saw multiple players in the area for that, just hoping that everyone is okay.
Shot goes up. Great help. It's a tough moment where the Cleveland player was coming from the weak side, does a great job of jumping into their space, and Owen kind of jumping backwards. There is a lot of contact, and those are always really scary plays. But from that replay, the Cleveland player jumping straight up wasn't, I always worry about those plays when someone comes weak side and just bulldozes the pile. Is always really tough. But from the weak side help, that felt like a very safe play. But unfortunate that Owen jumps backward and then just gets drilled in his back.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. That weak side help can be dangerous. I think this is a situation where the disc hung a little bit longer than offense maybe anticipated it, and trying to make those adjustments when you don't know that there's someone behind you and then you feel that contact. It never feels good on offense. You feel like you get blindsided, even if both of you are actually making a last-minute adjustment.
Yeah. And I think that's the right call to the uncontest. Even though I think the play itself was safe, the fact that Owen is making a bid and you're blindside and you make that contact, I think that is a really kind of understanding play. Owen getting the disc, tapping it in, finding Sam, front corner for the goal. Hold by Northwest.
Yeah, Sam McGinty able to come down with that score for Northwest. After a tough collision, Owen showing that he can stay calm, cool, and collected at the front, and Northwest able to get a point on the board, but it can always be kind of a weird environment to go out there after you see one of your teammates. You're not sure if they're okay or not, so excited to see what this Northwest team throws at this Cleveland offense.
And Owen, kind of the shot was holding his shoulder. He's hit the ground maybe 7 or 8 times. And I know these young bodies can just kind of hit the ground and pop back up, but he has been playing pretty much every point. He's hit the ground 7 or 8 times, and you could tell that shoulder is bothering him. The fatigue is really setting in right now. I can't really express how much Owen and Miles have been just kind of trying to carry and will this Northwest team. Aiden on the other side and Martin and David have been doing so much, but the kind of double teams and zones and help that Owen and Miles are doing really has taken a toll, you can tell, on the body of Owen at this point.
Yeah, pretty remarkable performances we've seen from both sides. Again, this is the last game of your season. This is the state championship, playing on a weekend underneath the lights. A big crowd out here supporting both teams, so you want to give it all out on the field. And these players have been putting on a show for us.
So again, go in person with a little bit of sag helping. Making Cleveland go kind of back to their vert stack. Owen kind of floating again in that open side. But again, Cleveland is so dangerous attacking that break side. Oh, and an unfortunate miscue gives the disc back to Northwest. Northwest poised to make a break for the first break of their game. Miles, high stall count, gets it off the line. Jasper back to Miles. Owen sneaks deep, shot doesn't go. And man, Northwest is moving the disc, but each cut just seems so well defended and so hard to kind of find space. Let's see if this kind of dish give go opens up anything. Big shot to nobody. A little bit of a miscue. I think when that disc was released, the Northwest cutter was slamming on the brakes and coming under. Signals, my bad.
Yeah, that's tough. We saw Miles doing a lot of work, looking downfield for those long periods, trying to find cutters who are able to get open, but these Cleveland defenders staying nice and tight on their person, not letting off any big windows, and resulting in a turnover. And now Cleveland's got 70 yards to go. They've been in this situation so many times this game and been able to work it up, whether it's through these big throws, big exciting throws that we've seen, or whether it's through these little dinks from sideline to sideline, able to hit their cutters coming under.
Cleveland working down the break side. Martin with the disc, goes break side to Aiden. Tough inside shot, big collision, and ooh. Call on the play.
Not surprised to see a foul called with that much contact. I think this was a poach coming through. We're getting another look at it on the screen. I believe this was a poach. You don't necessarily know where the person is coming under. Yeah, I don't think you can make that play with that much contact resulting in at the end of it.
And it is one of those tricky things because the Northwest defender feels like I got disc, I made this huge play, but that blind side like almost like T-bone kind of play is a really scary play, and I think fits in under this kind of dangerous play rule. But we'll see how it happens on the field. Fantastic heads up athleticism play, but that kind of layout towards a cutter is one of those plays in Ultimate that everyone kind of debates and tries to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, where's the line when you get to the disc first, but there is contact afterwards. We see Cleveland tapping it back in, some exciting movement. Thought that they were going to swing it to the other side, but happy to throw the disc back to Zeppelin. Zeppelin trying to find somebody, anybody, and able to throw a goal. Cleveland showing what they can do even as the stall count is rising.
wild kind of dump swing play where Zeppelin dumps it back and then immediately, instead of swinging it, throws it right back to Aiden, or throws it right back to Zeppelin. Fun one. You can see Zeppelin trying to search for his handlers and resets, and Isaac kind of sneaks into that open side corner and then goes up for the goalpost slam. Young man, get up. Almost dunked it.
Close enough, close enough. Yeah, and I think that's tough for Isaac's defender. You've guarded him so well. You've taken that away, and you see Zeppelin with the disc looking dump. You know that the stall count is rising, and you let up for just a moment. Zeppelin actually turning back upfield and finding it. I've been in that situation so many times where it's stall 9.5. You shut someone down for so long, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they find a new window.
Yeah, and it's so disheartening. I feel you can play 9 seconds of great defense, and then in that 10th second when someone sneaks free, especially when it's open side, it's so frustrating. What do you think the coaches are saying right now in this timeout, Abby?
I think that with Cleveland, you've had this momentum kind of all game, even with the ebbs and flows of the game. I think that you're saying, like, hey, it doesn't matter what the score is right now. We're here. We still have points left with each other. Let's go out and play our game no matter what, no matter if there's possibly only a few more points left, only 15 minutes left in this game. And I think Northwest, it's kind of a similar moment, right? It's kind of this moment of we get opportunities to play with each other. We can still continue to grow and learn together, and the game isn't over yet, right? It's a tough score to be at. It's a tough moment to be at. You haven't had offensive momentum in a while, even though there's been big plays. And so I think it's just, hey, let's take this opportunity. Let's have fun. Let's continue to play, and this is our last chance together.
Yeah, and I think the kind of moments to cherish with your teammates is also so important. To kind of always be there and pick each other up, and you can kind of see Northwest like trying to find each other, and Cleveland also, like, this is where those kind of long practices and the kind of early season or those off-season workouts, you know, it was all for these kind of last 15 minutes, these last couple points. And it's really special. I think for the seniors too, there's kind of like moments that well up, knowing that 4 years or maybe however long you've been on the team are almost coming to a close. And it's really important to kind of stay focused on the moment, find your teammates, and play the season and play the game and play the points the way you want to.
Yeah, and for these young players, you have a feeling that this Northwest team might be here in the next couple of years. They might be back at a state championship. They've got this young squad with only 2 seniors, so these next points coming up are still an excellent opportunity for these Northwest players.
Big pull. Northwest with the disc, looking like another horizontal. Miles with the disc. Cleveland sagging again, back pocket, trying to really take away the deep shots. Well defended, dump. Bounce up, good second chance grab. Finds Miles. Miles looking deep. Well defended, good help by Cleveland. Nice throw to the middle. Again, multiple people taking off for Owen. Settles in. Big shot now deep. Has one open, has a step, a little bit of a mystery, but tracks it down.
That is a tough catch to make. I think that Northwest was already coming back under, and then it kind of thrown over the top. There's this moment of which way do I spin to look at it? How do I find the disc so that it's in front of me and I'm still able to box out my defender?
Miles going up, thinking he has to jump, and then turns and refocuses. So many times it can be scary where you almost feel like you're spinning 180. Do I jump? Do I settle in? Great focus by Miles. You can also see how excited the Northwest School cutters get when Owen has the disc. When Owen had it, it was like 4 Northwest School cutters took off deep, looking to shoot. Owen seeming to kind of pump fake, take it off, and then rip it again, kind of late in the stall count, back corner. Really shows how much power and control he has with the disc.
Yeah, Northwest able to get a point on the board. I think their offense, though, it feels like they're almost forcing it a little bit, right? They're reliant on a couple players. They're a little stagnant downfield. I think that downfield, even if you're a cutter who doesn't get the ball all the time, you got to make a little more movement. Right now, we're kind of waiting until people catch it and then starting to cut. Whereas if we start to cut a little bit earlier, anticipate some of that movement, even through this really tough Cleveland defense, we might be able to generate a little more flow on offense, something a little more organic than kind of these like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll try this shot. I guess you're open under. Yeah, but I mean, a point's a point. And so Northwest out here ready to pull to this Cleveland offense.
Completely agree. Cleveland's offense, especially the vert, you can kind of find like the unique situations that get open that Cleveland's kind of taking advantage of, where you can kind of feel like Northwest is like using and forcing either Owen or Miles to make a play for them, and you can just tell how kind of sometimes difficult or inconsistent that can be. Cleveland in their vert stack again, big time. Oh, thought there was gonna be a layout. Moving the disc quickly. Aiden with the disc on the sideline. Cleveland, big shot deep. David has steps. Owen chasing, finding the footsteps, toes it in. Is he going to try to dunk it? I don't think he's going to try to dunk it. Looked at the bar, got excited. But again, yes, those were the Cleveland big superstars, but it felt like in their flow of their offense, and it just felt a little easier, a little more in rhythm. Cleveland going down open side, taking the huck when it's there. David thinking the line was a little further back, showing great footwork to toe it 5 yards in.
We've all been there. But yeah, as you were saying, some just fantastic offense from Cleveland that we've seen all game. We saw David open deep, but they also had a cutter coming under who was also open. Cleveland able to work it on the open side, able to work it on the break side, open, deep, whatever it is, they're able to find it, able to score with ease.
14-8. Kind of this is a big moment for Cleveland, just right on the doorstep of a state championship. Really exciting. Always fun to try to get a break to win a state championship. And kind of the excitement itself. I always struggle as a player to kind of not look ahead in these moments and to kind of maintain and focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, I completely agree, and also hard not to think about the score when you're on offense. I've been in this situation where you know that if you get broken, it's game over, and it's really hard not to let those nerves get to you on offense. So let's see if this Northwest team can generate some offensive movement, whether it's through kind of this forced throws, forced waiting that we've seen, but unfortunately there's a D right there from Cleveland.
And again, Cleveland kind of coming into the saggy person. Shot to the end zone for the state champion off the fingertips. But you can just tell how kind of Miles is having to hold onto the disc and try to make things happen with his throws. Big hammer, cross field, feet have to stay in. Great grab. Dangerous situation, trapped on the sideline in your own end zone, not a lot of space.
Yeah, ideally you'd be able to move the ball a little bit quicker. After you get those cross-field throws, ideally you're able to move the ball.
Oh.
Second effort, unable to come up with it for Northwest, so Cleveland's going to get another opportunity to end it right here, and happy to take the opportunity right away. Cleveland is your state champion, a fantastic game.
Aiden making a great D and then turning and throwing a laser to the end zone. A great backhand rip right into the chest for the 2019 and 20 state championship.
And just look at the excitement on these players' face. They played a fantastic game. They went undefeated all season. They won the invite earlier. They came into the state championship, played well, supported each other, have a fantastic community supporting them out here in the stadium. We heard the crowd going crazy for them all night, and you just love to see all this excitement on these players' faces.
And a huge game. You can see Aiden and his brother Dante giving him a big just kind of love. I mean, Aiden was all over the place, not only with his just kind of goals, but his throws and his Ds. You know, some of the shots, I shake my head as an old man that, you know, we got to just throw flat backhands, but really exciting and all over the place. Fantastic hard work from everyone on Cleveland. And Northwest just fighting tooth and nail. I mean, 8-15, but I felt the game was much closer. There was just a couple of breaks that didn't go Northwest's way, but a really hard-fought game by Northwest.
Yeah, and you've got to be happy with only a few returners for this Northwest team ending up in the state championship. That's not necessarily what you're expecting at the beginning of the season, so happy to be here. It's not the result that they were hoping for, but I mean, still a fantastic season for this Northwest team, and wouldn't be surprised to see them here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, really exciting. You can just tell how excited Cleveland is. Such a great way to end the season, undefeated, state champions. And just feeling just unstoppable right now.
Yeah, and well-deserved props to the coaching staff. They did fantastic work all season, and now they're coming home with the state championship medal.
Big thank you to all the fans who came out, all the parents and friends and coaches just to support this fantastic community. It's such a fun event to play under the lights and to have fans with signs and air horns and cheering. It's just so exciting and really special to play in front of crowds like this.
Yeah, and the Cleveland dance crew or Cleveland cheer crew that was here too. Super cool to see that school support on the sideline. And all these players are going to be celebrating tonight. They're going to be so happy. You can see them there with their trophy. So excited, happy to bring home this trophy for Cleveland, and you just love to see it.
Yeah. Big shout out also to Fulcrum, crushing it on the stream and letting Abby and I back on the mic even after our kind of 206 tour. Abby, it's so much fun to commentate with you. I really appreciate your insight. I forgot to kind of mention just how fantastic of an ultimate player you are and your knowledge of your game, but fantastic player for Seattle Riot, also for Seattle Mixtape, but the way you see the field and your cutting angles, not only you're a fantastic coach, but a fantastic player. So always a pleasure to be in the booth with you.
Thanks, Casey. It's super fun to get to commentate with you. I know we've gotten to play together, gotten to coach together, and now sitting here watching Cleveland win the state championship, hearing your insights as an old man, shaking your fist at all these blades and hammers and scoobers, but Cleveland showing that they can do it. And I just want to say thank you to all of our viewers, everyone who's tuned in. A big thank you to Disc Northwest. You can check out more at their website. And thank you to Fulcrum for filming this. And so glad that y'all were able to tune in and see this fantastic game.